Hey, I'm Allie Kelly with CDX. We're at CMA Music Fest this week with Glen Templeton. It's so nice to see you.
It's good to see you as well, Allie. Thank you for taking time to have me.
Well, thank you for being here with us. I want to tell you how much I enjoy you when you sing a Conway song. I'm the world's biggest Conway fan. What got you started on some Conway Twitty?
You know, voices like Conway were inspirations and for the reasons why I really moved to this town to pursue being an artist. Conway Twitty and George Jones and Merle Haggard, those were just the voices of country music. But my dad got me introduced to country music and George Jones and Conway and Merle a long time ago. And being a musician himself, those were some of the artists that were inspirational to him. So it just kind of vicariously I just started living that music as well through hearing him play it, all night long and in the VFW clubs and from one place and then. So my dad introduced me to that so long ago, and it's lived with me ever since. It's just timeless music. And Conway, I'm just such a huge fan of. He just had such great songs and a great voice, and what do they call it? The best friend a song ever had.
Yeah.
And he was just an incredible delivery, not only the voice but the emotion that he has. Just how could one not love it?
That's right. I love it too, and you do a great job on Conway songs. I'm consider myself the official Conway critic, so yours is fantastic. Thank you.
I truly appreciate that. We get to play a lot of good Conway Twitty music every night during our show as well, because as you probably know, I was hand-selected by the family of Conway to play in a touring musical.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. I want you to tell me about that, but also tell me about the wigs.
I did have to wear the wigs. The wigs were a funny story because I didn't know. I was like, man, how am I going to get a fro? What is it? So they flew me to LA to make a custom wigs for this musical that was coming up. And so we fly out, and there's this lady there in California. She goes, wait a minute. And I go in, and I got blonde hair like this, and she goes, wait a minute. You want me to make his hair look like that hair? Why? And so, it was just, and I had to wear like 3 different wigs during the whole, there was like 7 different costume changes. But the wigs, I don't really particularly want to go back to wearing a wig. I've got a lot of hair, so I want to keep wearing just what I've got now. But it was quite an experience for sure.
So the family picked you to play Conway.
Right, correct. Yeah, and so that thing lasted for about 2 years, and we played casinos and we played Vegas and Michigan, and just. I guess probably opened 10 shows for George Jones, and I got to meet the Jones family. And growing up being a George Jones fan and a Conway Twitty fan and Merle Haggard fan, it was shocking. And then to be able to be asked to come up on stage and sing "Rockin' Chair" with George Jones. I have a funny George Jones story.
I'd love to hear it.
The George Jones, when we first started going out on tour with him, I got some sort of a cold or something. And I go into the Walgreens, it was close to my house. Now, George lived right down the road from me, but granted, he lived on the other side of the tracks. I live on this side of the tracks. George lived on the other side of the tracks. But I go into the Walgreens, and I hear this voice come over the intercom. It says, "Conway Twitty, come to the front desk, please." And I go, I know I'm not that sick. That where I'm hearing things, I hear this voice again. "Conway Twitty, come to the front desk, please." And I look up and George is up there. We got him, didn't we, Nancy? So Nancy comes back to me, and she says, "Glen, what's wrong with you?" And I said, "Miss Nancy, I've got something. There's some sort of a sniffle or something." And she says, turns back to the pharmacist at the time and says, "Make Glen up some of that Roy's mixture that you specially make for George Jones." And they brought out this bottle of cough syrup. And George said, "Our God, that'll knock it out." And it was something. I don't know if I really was cured by it, but I was high enough to where I didn't think about being sick anymore. So we got to complete the show, and actually that was one of the first nights I got to sing Rockin' Cheryl on the stage with George Jones.
Fantastic! What a great story! What a great memory to have.
Yes,
That's
it's a great memory. It's a great memory.
Well, I looked at your EPK and saw that you did most of the filming, or a lot of the filming, at Swinging Doors. Is that one of your favorite places to play? I know you've done Lower Broadway, all over the place.
We've done Lower Broadway, and every place has its classic feel to it. Swinging Doors has a classic feel to it. Tootsie's has a classic feel to it. I spent about 2 years of my life at Tootsie's playing. Then at Legends Corner, to the Stage, the Wheel, Full Moon Saloon, every place,
classics.
all the classic
That's
places. And that was a place that was just, I know everybody there. When I go downtown, I pretty much know a lot of the bartenders, a lot of the managers. And I just went in and asked, hey, I really need a cool venue to do this. It'll be really, really quiet and really subtle, and I can get my point across. And they allowed us to go into the room. They opened the top of Swinging Doors up for us to go in to be able to record that.
I love it,
Yeah.
Swinging Doors. That's a great place.
It's
We
a
had
great
one of our
venue.
CDX parties there. Okay, let's talk quickly about your new single.
Yes, the new single, Hip to Be Country.
I love it.
Yeah, that thing is gaining more and more momentum all the time. And with having the inspirations like George and Conway and Merle Haggard, and then we have David Allan Coe, and we've got Hank Jr., and all these just Southern traditional country inspirations that I had, I wanted to go in and write something and record something with my band that I carry out on the road. And I wanted it to stay as much away from the machine factor, and I wanted it to sound more like a live band rather than just like a studio recording. I wanted it to really sound like a live band. And so I think we accomplished that with going in and recording this song. And when I wrote the song, I had the idea of, it's still hip to be country. It really is. And so I wanted to write the song, that was kind of my version of the perfect country and western song. Because it talked about trains, and it talks about trucks, and it doesn't talk about getting drunk. But I might have been a little bit tipsy when I started writing on that one. But it turned out to be a great piece of artistry. All of my guys got to play on it, the band that I go up and down the road with all the time, which are just incredible individuals, every one of them. I'm really, really fortunate and that they would come in and deliver and put their DNA on this sound that we now have on Hip to Be Country, and it is now at number 28 on the charts.
Fantastic.
So
That's great.
we
Well,
keep
I love it. It's
working.
really good.
We keep working, and from people who love it like yourself, you give me a job.
Very good. Well, we'll keep promoting it. We love it.
Please do.
Okay, tell me this. If you were stranded on a desert island and had only 5 albums that you could have with you from now on, what 5 would those be?
I'm going to say Merle Haggard, Greatest Hits. Vern Gosdin, Greatest Hits. John Conley, Greatest Hits. George Jones, Greatest Hits. Conway Twitty, Greatest. Not that he's not in that specific order, but I mean, there's a lot of emotional music, and probably something that I've survived by that thus far in my life. And I think I could survive by that on a desert island.
I can listen to all of those over and over.
Good. Thank you very much.